I have a question. This is going to this may rub you the wrong way a little bit, but I'm gonna read off some names, and we need to talk about some things. Okay, Xavier Thomas, Alex Tatch, Brady O'Hara, Tyke Hayes,
Yep.
Deshaun Burnett, Matt Sieg, David Davis. Today, Gabriel Jenkins, who has the best name in the WPIAL, by the way.
Yep.
Even though I
Committed to
don't
Penn
care
State.
for him. Yeah. Gabriel Jenkins, Kamon Spell, Khalil Taylor, all from the WPIL, okay, that are committed to Penn State. What the hell is going on in the recruiting trail? These are some names in here, man. There's some guys that aren't even in here that they didn't even bring up. The one kid from Bell Vernon comes to mind immediately. The running back from Bell Vernon comes to mind to me.
Jay Timmons and Timmons, yeah.
Well, not Timmons. The other guy from Bell.
Oh,
he's from Timmons.
I'm thinking of trying to think here. Yeah,
He's from last year.
Know. Yeah. I should know too because he smoked us twice in the WPIL championship. I should know better. But long story short, why do you feel that Pitt cannot really, like, we have Sean Fitzsimmons, Cruz Brookins, we have some good people, but that's a lot of talent, man, between and it's really interesting because it's even loaded talent. Like, you have people like loaded in the same positions even going to Penn State together. You know, like that's the part that's really weird to me. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, why y'all going to the same? Like, you got to compete, right? Or you could come to Pitt and probably have a little bit of a, I don't say a better opportunity, but you would have I think you'd have a more open opportunity. Why do you think that that Pitt has been having some issues losing in the recruiting game versus Penn State?
Well, I think there's a number of different things, and I to your point, this is going to be tough to hear to some people because it's going to be just an honest conversation. One, the name is obviously Quentin Martin. He ended up going to Penn State, the running back. Yep. But you look at the names, there are kids that just want to leave the area. That's number one. Number two, I think Pitt has done a good job of guys that hit the portal. Okay, so and if this was 10 years ago, I'd call it losses. There are great players like Khalil Taylor out of St. LaSalle. He's going to Pine Richland now to play up there. But one, guys sometimes want to just leave the area. It's far enough away. Number two, this has been a fact, and I've been talking about this, and this is really one of the reasons why I started to do the podcast, because I had people reaching out to me from multiple athletic departments, not just Pitt, other departments, also too from fans. We have a truly negative media towards Pitt. And there's a lot of people, for instance, journalism school. Pitt does not have a journalism school. You're getting a lot of guys like Pony from Syracuse. You're getting a lot of guys from the Penn State market. Heck, go look at 93.7 The Fan. We're lucky we have Doran on there, but then you have another guy that's on there from West Virginia. You're getting a lot of guys from other markets, especially from different schools. You're going to have a little bit of bias in there. I mean, and there's been a number of different conversations from certain guys that go on to the Steelers that go from Pitt, and there's a lot more heavy criticism compared to certain players. But when you have constant negativity and constant pushing away from a certain school, now sometimes Pitt deserves that because they're not winning enough. At the end of the day, winning cures all. If you win, you can't argue anything. Penn State just went to the college football playoff. They were just in the semifinals. You also got a great recruiter up there in Terry Smith. People can say what they want. Terry Smith has just done a tremendous job. He's been loyal to Penn State. He played at Penn State. He knows what he's recruiting. Tyke Hayes has a great relationship with him, their family. I mean, there's numerous different things that go into that. But I think that Pitt does a really good job of getting guys in the portal. Now, I've also had a little bit of pushback on that as well. I'm not a very big fan of bringing in WPIAL guys from the portal because if you ditch us once, you shouldn't come back. Like, I got on board with the Phil Dracovic stuff, but Phil Dracovic was a very big guy in bashing Pitt when he committed to Notre Dame. Then all of a sudden, 4 years later, he needs somewhere to play. Who's he call? Pitt. I think later on as we go through it, it's great to have those relationships. I think there may come a time where Quentin Martin hits the market. Tyke Hayes. I was a huge Tyke Hayes guy. I still think to this day, Desmond Reed is an All-American. I think Tyke Hayes would have started. That's how good Tyke Hayes is at running the football. He's a guy at that size. I think he could have played right away. But sometimes when you're a kid at 18 years old, you're looking sometimes at the brand name. What's really happened as of recently? Where can I go where there's more love than anywhere else? Then all of a sudden, guys start making decisions based on money rather than situations. And I'm a big relationship guy. I'm in corporate America, a lot like us here, that are here today. I don't always take the position because I've grown up to see different areas. I don't take the job sometimes always as the most money because I care about relationships. Who am I working with? In college football, there should be a list of things that you go through. And I tell this to athletes when I talk and I do my public speaking and motivational speaking. Number one, where am I most wanted? Number one, where am I most wanted that I'm going to be able to play football? Where am I going to be most developed at? Number two, what are my relationships like? Who am I getting to play with? Who am I getting to play for? Do they care about me, the individual, before who I am as a player on the football field? Number three, the academic side of things. When you go to a university, and I think a lot of guys have lost this because they go to 4 or 5 different schools every year. They change the portal. When you go to a university, it's not a 4-year decision. It's a 60-year decision. You are choosing a school that truly embraces you as the individual, not just now, but for where you're going. And Northern Illinois' coach had a really good saying too. It's the things that you learn in college. When you go to college, you're a boy. When you leave college, you're a man. And you want to make sure you have the right individuals that are teaching you common core values of, hey, when I face adversity, am I going to run away from adversity or am I going to run to adversity? Am I going to run through adversity? Those kind of things are big for me. And I know some people, especially we all come from different places in life. Some people, hey, the money's a big thing. But I just cannot stress enough to student athletes, man, that relationships matter. Who you play for matters. Who you work for matters. And it's not always about the dough. And I understand when they're flashing $100,000, $200,000, $1 million in front of you, it's hard to say no. Sometimes it's generational wealth. But I think for where you want to go, if you want to go to the National Football League, go where you're going to be developed, go where you're wanted, and go where they truly love you where you're at. Because sometimes when you choose that wrong place for money, it's a business decision. And if you go there and you don't play well, you're on the bench real quick. And I think that sometimes guys are picking that. And right now, Penn State was just in the semifinals. They're acquiring all the power right now.
If I could just add, and I don't have to add much because JJ answered that brilliantly, but I'm like JJ now. I'm kind of nonplussed when a player goes elsewhere. We have the transfer portal, but the other thing that Narduzzi and staff did, which was strategic, was they start really tapping into Florida, Georgia, and now Texas. We thank God for Coach B, the tight ends coach. He's bringing right now a pipeline from Texas.
Yeah.
What they said is fine. We want to keep everybody home. And it's a misnomer, by the way, that Pitt's ignoring local talent. They're on them. It's up to them. And to JJ's point, there's a million different reasons. You wish everybody was like a John Curran or a Shep Turk, but unfortunately they're not. And you know what? It's okay because these kids, it's a big decision in their life. Pitt fans, I don't quite understand it now. Take it really personal. I don't, because actually the player that they just maybe missed on, they're going into these really talent-rich states and bringing a replacement in. So, like I said, to me, I'm not as worried about it, but I understand the various reasons and the various factors there. But they did that Southern shift a few years ago, and the pipeline's working out pretty well for the program. So, you wish everybody would come, but it's okay if they don't at this point. And to JJ's point, too, honestly, all those names you mentioned, 30 to 40% of them are going to be back in the portal within a couple of years.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, too. When you look at the portal from a perspective, when someone hits the portal from Pitt, all of a sudden the world's falling, right? But when Tamir Robinson hits the portal from Penn State and goes to USC, no one talks about it. So, there's media bias in there. There is certainly media bias from it. But to Harry's point, and Harry went through the recruiting process with Max, and did a phenomenal job of picking where he wanted to go. And you look at players right now, Harry hit a great point. We are really tapping into Florida. Unfortunately, the WPIAL has got great players, and they've got a great number of players right now. But it's not what it used to be 10, 15 years ago when I played at Mount Lebanon, and I played with 9 guys that went Division I. I mean, and not just Division I, Power 4, Virginia, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Pitt, Penn State, Alabama. I mean, it was there. And out in Mount Lebanon, the Quad A, Central Catholic, North Allegheny, Art Walker Jr., Bob Palco, West Allegheny. I mean, the talent was through the roof. The talent has subsided since that time period. So while I want WPIAL guys to stay home because I love my Pittsburgh guys, when you're tapping into Georgia, you're tapping into Texas, which I've talked to numerous Texas parents, and let me tell you, they said the exact quote, "The cat's out of the bag. Pitt has everything you need to be successful." I mean, when you can tap into numerous places like Georgia, Texas, Florida, California, Ohio. Ohio's got great football. Maryland, DeMatha Catholic. I can name schools across the border. You go over to Philadelphia. We get great players out of Philadelphia. St. Joseph's Prep. I mean, they got numerous great football players. I talked to these head football coaches. I mean, it's just Pitt is not going to be shied away from certain areas of where they want to go. Michigan, the Detroit, Michigan area. I mean, you got some tough kids out of that area that I love when they come to Pitt because they never complain. They're tough as hell, and they love Pitt. I mean, Avonte Maddox is one of those guys that comes out of there. To this day, Terrence Enos, who came here, he's now at Kansas State. He still loves Pitt and talks about Pitt every day. They're finding the right kids. Now it's just time, I think, for the coaching staff. If we were winning more, the conversations really wouldn't be there. But I think overall, winning cures all. And right now, Penn State has the wand right now. When you're in the semifinals in the college ball playoff, you've got a lot what's going on, and we talk about it here with Pat Narduzzi. What have you done for me lately? Where have you been? And I think the college ball playoff was helpful to James Franklin because he hasn't beaten Ohio State. He can't beat Michigan. He can't beat Oregon. But guess what? He still went 10-2, 11-1, still made it to the playoff, made it to a certain area in terms of semifinals. It erases those questions. You got to be able to dive into it and be very proactive. And I will say this too, and I will put his name out there because he's a tremendous recruiter, and he was a guy that was so vital to what Pitt was doing, and that's Carlo Zofko. I can't tell you what he did from behind the scenes, what he did at Pitt. I mean, there are still athletic departments calling him to join. I mean, that's how well Carlo Zofko worked his ass off for Pitt. And I mean, he's a diehard Pitt guy. I mean, and the amount of knowledge that he distributes to high school football and, through WPIAL Insider is unreal. So, I mean, Pitt's certainly missing him. I can say that.
We mentioned perspective. You want great perspective on recruiting. You talk to Carlo. I mean, he really will. He'll fill you in. He's amazing.
So, I mean, real quick, put a button on this. And GB, great question on the recruiting on this, too.
Yeah, great question.
JJ, you hit the nail on the head. Is like kids will want to go to certain places for their own reason.
Mm-hmm.
What drew me to my call, again, I'm a 1AA level, but was I liked being a guinea pig and playing for an NFL coach with Joe Walton at Robert Morris. Going there versus a place like, some high-level D2 schools, hey, I get the chance to learn the X's and O's of an NFL offense, as I was showing you guys, by the playbook that I still have that it's thick.
Yeah.
But also, what chance or how many times in your life can you say, I was part of the program from day one? I was the very first – I played in the very first game of this college's, history. I was the very first of this at this college's history. So I stayed local, of course, but that was the reason I went there versus other schools. And everybody, like you said, some people just want to get out of the area because they want to get away from family, or they want to get enough to where, they're far enough away, but they can drive home if they need to. Some want to get way out of here. So you're right. I mean, GB and I always talk about with the Steelers, especially with Tomlin and everyone else, is like, it's about the X's and O's married with the Jimmies and the Joes. And sometimes right now, Pitt's Jimmies and Joes might be in Texas. They might be in Philadelphia. They might be in Florida. So, you would like to see the local kids stay local. And we would always love that, especially if it marries up with the X's and O's. But right now, it seems as if the pipeline, if you will, with what Cade Bell wants to do, they're out of state. They're out of the local area, and there's nothing wrong with that. And like you said, it's a different time of recruiting. JJ, I like your opinion by, hey, you didn't choose us the first time, so why choose us the second time? But sometimes, maybe that second time does work, but I agree with you with the Jerkovic thing.
Yeah, like we
And there's
it
some
worked
kids
out
that
well.
come back.
It worked out well with Donovan McMillan. It worked out well with
Yeah.
NJ Devonshire. I mean, you've got numerous guys that came back and played well.
Derek
absolutely.
Davis. Yeah. Just you had several guys who came back.